Yo, what's going on, guys? CultOfMush back at it with the top 5 upcoming PC game releases of April 2017. I used to do this series a lot every month to keep you guys up to date on some of the best games coming out on PC in any given month. And as you guys know, PC's got a lot of games coming out every month and it's hard to keep track of everything. So I want to get back to rounding out the top 5 releases of every month. So let's get right into this with number 5. Number 5 is a Kickstarter game that I'm very excited for, and that's Yooka Laylee, which is releasing on April 11th. This game is being developed by Platonic Games, who are comprised of developers that worked on Banjo-Kazooie back in the day, and Yooka Laylee is very much a callback to games like that. It's a very colorful platformer, and it follows the same style of having two very distinct characters. You have Yooka, who's your chill male chameleon, and then you have Laylee, who's your off-the-wall bat. Both of these characters you play as, and I imagine that their interactions will be a big part of the game. And looking at the game, it just looks like an excellent platformer, and you don't see a lot of great platformers these days, especially of the old school style. So I'm really looking forward to Yooka Laylee, and if you played games like Banjo-Kazooie, Spyro the Dragon, a game like this is definitely going to be up your alley. Number 4 is Sniper Ghost Warrior 3, the latest in the Sniper Ghost Warrior franchise, which at this point really has consisted of mediocre games. They've been okay, but I would not call them great at all. They have their moments, but they definitely falter in areas, but honestly, they're pretty popular given what they are. And with Sniper Ghost Warrior 3, the developers are doing something that's been very common this generation, and that's taking a formerly linear franchise and then dropping it into an open world setting. This is also considered the first game in the franchise to feature AAA production value, so they're definitely putting a lot of resources behind this game. And with Sniper Ghost Warrior 3, it looks like they're trying to take the franchise to the next level. Will that happen? Maybe, maybe not. With it being open world, it's obviously going to have a lot more content. It's going to have side missions. You're going to have a car that you're going to be able to drive around to get from point to point. So they're doing a lot with Sniper Ghost Warrior 3. Hopefully it turns out well. Honestly, I am getting a little burned out of open world titles. It just seems like every month we have 3 or 4 new open world titles, and that's kind of been the formula for the last few years. Let's just drop everything into an open world. But hey, who knows? The gameplay we've seen thus far has looked very promising, and technically it does look really good. Moving on to number 3, this is a game that I personally wanted to mention, and that's Shyness the Lightning Kingdom. It's an action RPG with a beautiful watercolor art style. You've got a really interesting cast of characters. I've actually been following this game in and out for a while now, and it just looks like a really interesting game, some really cool gameplay. The music is one of the highlights in this game, and if you pre-order now on Steam, you do get 15% off, and you receive the original soundtrack in MP3 format and an official Shyness manga, 129 pages, that's a PDF file. But yeah, the game itself looks really good, and I think this is gonna be one of the underrated gems of the year. Nobody is talking about it, but I can really see this come out and just blow everyone away. Aesthetically, for whatever reason, this game reminds me a lot of Bastion, and Bastion was one of my favorite games in the last 10 years. So if it reminds me of that, that's definitely a good thing. And this is one game I implore you to check out because nobody is talking about it, and I think it deserves a lot more attention. Look it up on Steam, and I do think this has a ton of potential to be a great game.
Unique abilities and affinities for the elemental magic Shi. You can use their powers together to overcome any obstacle. In battles, you have to use fighting game mechanics mixed with an RPG flair. Magical spells, Shi management, combos, parries are all necessary to master Shyness's battle system.
Number 2 is a game that I feel like I just had to mention on this list. It's not a series that I'm very much fond of, but Warhammer 40k Dawn of War 3 is definitely a game that PC gamers are excited for. It's exclusive to PC, and I'm sure it's gonna do really well commercially. You guys probably know I'm not the biggest fan of RTS games or strategy games in general. There are a few that I've enjoyed. I'll probably check out Dawn of War 3. I probably won't put as much time as you guys will. I'm sure it's gonna be a great game for fans of the genre and the series. It's gonna go back to the traditional RTS base building, and it's gonna include larger scale walker units. And the footage I've seen thus far, this game is shaping up very, very well. Again, not my cup of tea, but still, I'm somewhat excited for it. And for a genre that I'm really not fond of, for me to be excited, it takes a lot. And if you guys have been following the franchise and playing it, you're probably stoked for it.
Out on us! Open fire!
Finally, number 1, had to give this spot to Outlast 2, the sequel to Outlast, which was a terrific horror game. This game is set in the same universe as the first game, but it's with different characters and a different setting. It's set in a desert, and you play as a freelance journalist, and you're unable to fight, and you can only defend, hide, crouch, run, jump, walk, all that kind of stuff. And unlike the first game, he does possess a better camera, so you have much more to do with it, including clearer footage, zoom, and an audio detection system. But Outlast, to me, in recent memory, was one of the few horror games that really embodied horror, and that's why I'm really excited for Outlast 2, because there's not a lot of games that embody horror. Resident Evil 7 definitely was a step in the right direction for horror games. I think that took horror back to what it should be, horror games that is, and I expect excellent things out of Outlast 2. If you haven't played the first Outlast game and you're a fan of horror games, you're doing yourself a complete disservice. It's a great game, and you can find it for very cheap. I think it's been in the Humble Bundle a few times, and if you find it on sale, you can get it for like $3 or $4, a game very much worth playing. And if you go play that, trust me, you will be excited for Outlast 2. So that's gonna wrap up this video, guys. I'm happy to be doing this series again because I think there's a lot of PC games that come out every month that don't really get a lot of attention. Shyness being one of them, which is a game that I think is gonna go really under the radar, but it does have a lot of potential, and I want to bring those games to the forefront and mention the games that people are also very excited for, like Dawn of War 3, like Outlast 2. So that's gonna wrap up this video, guys. As always, thanks for watching. If you have a request for a future video, you can leave it in the comment section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.